Hi guys, I'm going to review with you yesterday's lesson so that as you're working on your practice today, you can come back to this video and kind of look it over. The one thing we have to remind ourselves with when we're writing equations of lines given 2 points is that in order to complete our slope-intercept form, we must find the slope and the y-intercept. Those are always our two finds. What do we have to do to find our slope? And what do we have to do to find our y-intercept? So if we look at our very first example from class yesterday, we have write the equation of line that goes through the 2 points. So we also learned that in order to find slope, if you can't find slope on a graph and the slope isn't given, we have to use the slope formula. The slope formula is the difference of the y values of the 2 points and the difference of the x values of the 2 points. So it's y2 minus y1, or y1, and x2 minus x1. So when we identify our coordinate points, we're just going to plug those numbers into our formula to find our slope. Gotta love the announcements.
Please go to room 18.
So we're going to start off right away to find the slope first of our 2 points. And like I said, we have x1, y1, because that's our first ordered pair. And we have x2, y2, which is our second ordered pair. So let's go ahead and find our slope. So y2 in our equation, coming back here to our, let's see if I can show you that too. To our original equation, we're going to look for y2. So in our ordered pair, we have y2, which is -2. And we're going to subtract it from y1, which is 4. Then we're going to go to the bottom of our fraction. And we're going to take the x from the second point, which is 4, subtract it from x from the first point. And x from the first point is -4. So we're subtracting a -4. Anytime you're subtracting a negative, you can go ahead and turn those both into positives. Integer rules. Okay? So all we got to do now is solve this. -2 minus 4 is -6. And 4 plus 4 is 8. So our slope is -6 over 8, but it's quite not simplified because the numerator and the denominator are both even. So I can divide both of these by 2, and I can get -3 over 4, and there's my slope. So now we found the slope. Now we're going to do exactly what we did in class the other day to find the y-intercept. We actually have to set up our equation and solve for b. So now that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to take our equation, y equals, we now know what our m is, so we're going to put the m into our equation, 3 over 4, that's our slope, x plus b. All right, we want to solve for b because we need to find our y-intercept in order to write an equation. So we need an x and we need a y. Where do we get x and y from? Let's think about it. In our points up here, we have x's and y's. We have x and y for our first point and x and y from our second point. That's how we find our points on our graph. So pick a point, any point. I usually look for points that are both positive because positives obviously are easier to work with than negatives, or I look for numbers that are small. In this case, it technically doesn't matter, so pick whatever one you choose. I'm just going to choose this second one, just because. So what I'm going to do is we're going to insert those numbers in for the y and the x value. So the y, if we follow this up, the y is -2. So I'm going to plug in -2 times -3/4, which is my slope, and now find my x. Follow that back up. My x is 4. So I'm going to multiply that by 4 to get my b. All right, so that's where we're at so far. All right, so now we need to simplify this because we're still trying to get b all by itself. So we have -2 on this side, and now we have to multiply a fraction, -3/4 times 4. Let's do that right over here. -3/4 times 4, make that a fraction, over 1. Remember, all whole numbers are over 1. -3 times 4, multiplying across, is -12. 4 times 1 is 4. So -12 divided by 4 is -3. So there is our value. To simplify these two numbers, we have -3 plus b. Okay, I'm running out of a little bit of space, so I'm just going to use this to carry it down so we can continue. So now all I want to do is get b by itself. The only last step to do is I have a -3 over here, so how do I get rid of a -3? I add 3. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. These 3's will cancel out and leave me with b, which is what we're trying to do. And -2 plus 3 is 1. So our b is 1. So now we know our b and we know our slope. We can write our equation. Y equals our m, our slope, which is -3/4, x plus whatever our y-intercept is, plus 1. And there is our equation. It's a lot of work to get an equation, but all the math that we are doing is math that we have definitely seen and worked with before. All right, so you should be good to go to do your review problems today. All right, good luck.